I learned that I didn't have enough money, of money really. And I had all these plans, and I have learned through this process to embrace what others may call failure, but is failure, but it's learning. It's a learning opportunity. Like when you're in class and you're working out the problem and you get the answer wrong and then you see, oh, I should have done it this way. That isn't you failed, that's learning. And so I think once we get out of school and we get into life, people are scared of failure. And it is scary. You take it personally and you're like, oh, I failed, but it's still learning opportunity. So I've learned to embrace learning opportunities, and I've learned to move really fast and really strategically and keep notes on what I did and how it came out.
This is Uncommonly Remarkable. We have surprisingly casual discussions about the lives and notable accomplishments of community leaders, entrepreneurs, and everyday folks like you and me. Think of this podcast as an opportunity to learn something new and to pick up on an entrepreneurial tip or two through open conversation. I'm Artis Beatty. I'm a doctor of optometry and the chief medical officer for My Eye Doctor OD. Though we will inevitably touch on topics within my area of expertise, the opinions and conversations held here are separate from my work with My Eye Doctor. Welcome to the show. Téa, welcome to the show. I'm very excited to have you today. I mean, this is a fantastic product to talk about, an invention for something people really don't always think about. And it's just neat to talk to an inventor. So thank you for joining me and welcome.
Oh, thank you for having me, Artis. I'm so excited for the show today.
So I always like to start the show by painting the picture of what it is that you do and how this product is really changing the world. So can you talk a little bit about who you are and Metaflex just in general, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. So I'm Téa Phillips. I am the inventor of the Metaflex glove and the founder and CEO at ATS Innovations, which is a company I started to sell the Metaflex glove. Metaflex is something that I invented while I was studying engineering at Tennessee Tech University as a way to help people with arthritis manage it at home. I found that compression and strengthening were two of the best things to help manage the disease and, regain hand function and improve that mobility. And that people weren't really doing their strengthening exercises because it's time consuming and you have to remember to do 15 reps of a squeezing something a day. And so I wanted to make that easier. And I made a wearable grip strengthener. So Metaflex is a compression glove that has resistance bands sewn in at the fingertips, and they move through these channels. And then at the back of the hand, they're adjustable with Velcro. So really easy to use. And the bands just work to keep your fingers extended gently or, with more tension, depending on where you set those bands on that Velcro. And the idea is as you're going about your day, you're working against those bands and building your strength. But a lot of people are actually using it at night to stretch their fingers and recover from the day. It also has this really gentle compression, so it's good for improving circulation, which reduces pain and swelling and stiffness. So it's something that I made for arthritis. It's been helping people with carpal tunnel and Dupuytren's and trigger finger and scleroderma and stroke rehab and on and on and on. The list is kind of really growing. It's exciting. And also athletes who are trying to recover or train and hit that next level workout outside of the gym type thing. And then musicians, people who are typing on their computers all day, people who are, handling landscaping equipment or moving heavy things. All of us, like you said earlier, work hard with our hands and don't really think about recovery after that. But it is really important because as you get older and as you're doing these things for a prolonged period of time, you start to develop some hand conditions with the tendons shortening and tightening. So the stretching is important, and losing your grip strength because your hands hurt. So the compression helps with the pain, and then you have the strengthening. So it's been really, really cool journey.
That's amazing. I mean, when you think about it, there are a lot of things that we do day to day, even when we're young, that will have implications later in life. And so it kind of moves from being something that I was initially thinking, oh, well, I've got arthritis. I'm going to use this to feel better. But it can also be preventive then in that it can help as a way to help keep those tendons extended and maybe reduce the chances of developing things like carpal tunnel as an example, or helping your hands recover. When I think about people who play piano, people who play guitar, people who are doing all of these intricate things, the hands are in a fairly constant type of position. And so it feels like by the description that it could be useful in helping those hands take on their normal posture after they've been doing the work.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It extends the fingers and brings you back to that normal hand posture, so that you can recover and reduce that swelling, all of those things. And about half of my users actually are sleeping in the glove to like really recover, or if they have problems with their hands closing up at night. Like when I was making this, I talked to my grandmother who had
Mm.
really severe arthritis. And she said at night she would sleep with a tennis ball in her hand and then a sock over top so she wouldn't drop it. And that was to prevent waking up with her hand in a fist. It's really common with a bunch of different hand conditions. So you can wear Metaflex at night, which has that gentle compression for the stiffness, and then has the bands that can stretch your fingers out. And people are using that for carpal tunnel and Parkinson's, a wide range of hand conditions. Yeah.
And, when I think about people who've had hand injuries as an example, there is considerable therapy that people go through after an injury. One of the things that they do, and I don't know if others have seen them, but like there's sometimes they'll have almost like a cast. It'll have a bunch of rubber bands on it. It'll be pulled back towards the wrist. It
Yeah.
looks very sci-fi, and that is part of kind of the recovery and therapy, coupled with a lot of anti-inflammatories, pain relievers, trying to get people comfortable as that is happening. And you in your glove kind of take that to a more svelte and useful level so that people who are not in what looks like hand traction can actually get the benefit, which is really pretty cool.
Yeah, that was really exciting for me to learn when I was talking to surgeons and therapists, who told me after surgery they would tape someone's hand in like the same way that the Metaflex holds the hand. And so the idea there is if you need that rigidity and that stiffness and that specific material right after surgery, then whenever that comes off, you can use Metaflex to continue that therapy, but with a soft material that's really comfortable. So just throughout the day, you're getting the anti-inflammatory from the compression, which improves
Yeah.
circulation, and then the positioning with the bands. And so yeah, it was really really cool. When I was making this, I was studying the anatomy of the hand and I was trying to line everything up perfectly. And yeah, so it worked out really really well, beyond just our initial arthritis use case.
Well, so you're going to have to tell us a little bit more about how you got here, right? Because you grew up in Tennessee, small
Yeah,
town.
Shelbyville, Tennessee, rural, tiny.
But were you from the outset engineering minded, inventing minded, healthcare minded? Like, tell us about Téa. Like, how did you kind of get to the thought process? Oh man, this is what I really want to work on.
I never really knew what I wanted to do. Well, I'll take that back. In the beginning, I wanted to act. I really love the theater. I feel like and I love being creative and expressing myself. And so I was really drawn to the theater. And I thought when I graduated high school, I was going to move to LA. And then
Amazing.
I got into my junior year and I thought, LA is a dangerous place for a young lady. And I don't know if I want, I don't know if I'm going to be fighting for my life to follow this passion. And so I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I've always been good at puzzles, like, and I enjoy problem solving. Math has come easily to me. I think physics is
Mm.
interesting. So when one of my friends decided to study engineering, and then I was like, he and I like all the same classes. Our brains work very similarly. I'm going to look into this. So I looked into it. and I learned about all the disciplines of engineering and mechanical engineering, which is the broadest because I
Mm.
didn't know what I wanted to do. But I saw that as a mechanical engineer, you would work on robots and rocket ships. And in mechanical engineering is things that move. So
Mm-hmm.
you're learning like civil engineering is stuff that doesn't move, and mechanical is stuff that moves, and then there's chemical, which is like how things are interacting chemically, and then biomechanical. There's all of these different disciplines, but mechanical engineering felt very broad and very interesting. So I started with that, and I thought I'd do robots and rocket ships. And I worked on some really cool. I worked in some really cool places as a contractor for the Department of Defense and the Department
Oh,
of
wow.
Energy. And when I was just about to graduate college, right before I went into my senior year, I met my co-founders, and we were in this club called Innovation in Healthcare, which was bringing
Okay.
engineers and nursing majors and people interested in healthcare together to solve healthcare problems with this engineering type of problem solving, which
Oh,
is just really
wow.
methodical problem solving. And we identified arthritis, and that a lot of people can't afford to go to the doctor, and they have to not only pay for the care, pay for the copay. They have to take time off work to drive. Where we really delved into like all of the problems in healthcare, and we wanted to focus on arthritis because it's so widespread. And it, like when I was talking to my grandmother, she, I mean, it was stopping her from doing normal daily activities that she loved to do, like some
Mm.
of her favorite
Mm-hmm.
hobbies, crafting and knitting and gardening and sewing. Like all of these require really intricate hand motions,
Right.
and her hands hurt. And so she was not doing these things that she loved doing. And then she got to the point where she needed help doing just like activities of daily living. So, like opening pill
Yeah.
bottles, opening water bottles, really basic things because she had, in her pain, not be not kept strengthening her hands because it hurt. And so that's how Metaflex takes it to the next level is we're relieving pain with the compression and then offering the strengthening. So it's really like that next level of holistic, comprehensive hand health. And that's where we're moving, not to get on another tangent, is wearable healthcare, things that make
Yeah.
it easy for
Yeah, yeah.
people to
Mm-hmm.
improve their strength and their mobility and relieve their pain. So Metaflex is the beginning of it, and you're going to see a lot more of that in the future. You already see it with some wearables like patches and those rings that measure your heart rate and other signals. Um, but yeah, so we identified arthritis as a problem. We started doing research. I started talking to my grandmother, and when I talked to her and realized how much this would help improve her quality of life, I couldn't let it go. So
Yeah.
I did put it on the back burner for a while because we invented Metaflex. We started pitching in our student pitch competitions. We were winning. We were going to the state level. We were winning. We were making money, but not enough that I felt comfortable when I graduated that same year in
Mm.
2018 to go all in and not accept this job offer that I had. So I had a really sweet job offer. And I worked at Y12 in Oak Ridge, Tennessee for about 3 years. And I kind of had Metaflex on the back burner. And then my grandmother started getting worse. And I
Mm.
really asked myself, like, do I want to stay with this company forever? Do I want to move to a different company? Or do I want to bet on myself? And
Oh,
it
wow.
just, everything came together at the right time. I quit my job. I liquidated my 401k and all my Roth
Oh,
IRA.
all
I
in.
pulled every stock option I had. Like, I liquidated everything that I had, all of my investments, my savings account. I maxed out my credit cards. I built Metaflex. And now that it's been on market, it's been helping so many people. So it's been totally worth it. It's been a really difficult and challenging journey, but what a rewarding journey too. Being an entrepreneur is you learn a lot about yourself, and when you're making something like I've been able to make, which is healthcare related, so it's helping people, it just feels good. It that
Yeah.
yeah, I'm in a good spot, and I really enjoy what I'm doing.
You touched on a couple of things that I think are pieces that people don't necessarily think about.
Mm.
The first is when you think arthritis and hand health, you don't necessarily think independence. And so,
Yeah.
you mentioned that your grandmother she wasn't able to do her hobbies, right? The things that she enjoyed doing, but in essence, she was losing her independence as well, because if she can't get into her medications, she can't take care of herself, it becomes very difficult. And so it moves from a product that helps people be comfortable to a product that can really help people be able to just maintain what they do every day to be by themselves and be independent. And, studies show that when people are losing their independence, they lose a lot of other things that go along with it, including just their general health, both physical and mental, when they
Yeah,
can't do things on their own. And so that's a really, really important thing.
it
And
is.
then
Yeah.
and then I love the fact that you went all in. You're like, I had this great job. It was pretty good. I was doing that, and then I had to come to the decision, what was I going to do? And you're like, you know what? There's no half here. I'm going to put it all in there.
Yeah.
Um, what did you learn when you decided you're going to go all in and really start to build Metaflex?
I learned that I didn't have enough money. I learned that I didn't have enough money really. And I had all these plans, but and I have learned through this process to embrace what others may call failure, but is failure. But it's learning. It's a
Hmm.
learning opportunity. Like when you're in class and you're working out the problem and you get the answer wrong and then you see, oh, I should have done it this way. That isn't you failed, that's learning. And so I think once we get out of school and we get into life, people are scared of failure. And it is
Hmm.
scary. You take it personally and you're like, "Oh no, I failed." But it's a learning opportunity. So I've learned to embrace learning opportunities and I've learned to move really fast
Hmm.
and really strategically and keep notes on what I did and how it came out. Um, so it's been awesome. So I quit my job and I thought I had enough money and I thought I have a patent. I've got this. I've got that. People are gonna invest in me. I was like, it's so like I'm charming. I've got a degree in engineering. I've worked for the government in like really cool ways. I've got a patent. My glove is gonna change people's lives. I'm gonna invest everything I have. And before I run out of money, somebody else is gonna invest in me for sure. Like it'd be so crazy if they did not.
Absolutely.
I moved in with my parents. I moved in with my cousin. I started finally getting like small business loans. I got some initially, like even before I moved in with my parents, some of my advisors had written me checks to like buy inventory. So I was getting started.
Oh, wow.
But you
Yeah.
need way more money than you think. This is such an expensive process. And I think it's a big problem and a big barrier to innovation. Like the FDA
Hmm.
fees alone are insane. My glove's a compression glove. I'm like, why do I have to register with the FDA? I'm emailing them. Like, are you for real? Like, class one medical device. Like, this is not gonna hurt anybody. Um,
Yeah.
but because compression changes the way the body functions, we're registered as a medical device, which is a selling point and it gives some authority to the product and it's nice. But in 2026, the FDA fee just to be a medical device establishment is over $11,000. How
Wow.
are young innovators, not even young innovators, how are innovators? People in America are not living month to month with an extra $11,000 in their bank account. And that's a yearly
Right.
fee, but like you get it. You have all of these things come up. The access to capital is such a problem and it's such a barrier to innovation. And the FDA fee needs to come down. That was ridiculous. Last year it was $9,000. The year before that it was $7,000. It's going up. I did the math on average like 22%
Oh,
every
wow.
year, which is so ridiculous. They don't do anything but let me put my name on a website. Like I've got all these, my manufacturer's got all these certifications. We follow the rules, but I would have followed the rules without having to pay them $11,000.
Well, then let's talk about that process though, because I think that's one that I'm not wholly familiar with as far as
Hmm.
patents go. So let's start with the patent. So you had the idea,
Yeah.
and how does one go about getting a patent on an idea?
Yeah.
And how did you figure out the process? Because it's something that if you're an inventor, inventors out there listening, some of them have notebooks of scribbles that they would love to have go somewhere, but you can't do anything if you want to keep the idea unless you get a patent.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so you need to know a little bit about patent rules. The first thing is if you publicly disclose your invention, you have 12 months to file a patent.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, number one, don't tell the public if you're not ready to file a patent. Patents are expensive. My first patent, I got very lucky. So, when I won EagleWorks, which is Tennessee Tech's um, student Shark Tank style pitch competition,
Okay.
in 2018, we won first place and we won biggest social impact award, which was very exciting.
That's
So
pretty
we won a
cool.
little bit of money from that. And we won assistance from a local law firm, an IP law firm, who filed our patent pro bono. And pro bono means they didn't take any money from us. We only paid the filing fees. And the filing fees probably came out, and I don't really remember. It's like a few hundred, probably a few $100s. Generally, when you're filing patents, it's thousands of dollars because
Mm-hmm.
lawyers' time is very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Lawyers are charging you like $200-300 an hour. So you can expect. So my first patent, I got pro bono, and I was very fortunate. My second patent, you have to find an IP attorney. So not every attorney is able to file your patent.
That's right.
I mean, they can. You can file it without an attorney.
Mm-hmm.
So, first, with the attorney, find someone who specializes in IP, which is intellectual property. They're going to be the best ones, and they can help you file a patent. So, they're going to make drawings for you and make claims, and you need to review, and you need to think of what if I change this? Am I still covered? What if I change this? Am I still covered? You can file a provisional patent, which is you've got the idea and you haven't worked it all out yet, but you need to get a patent on it.
Mm.
So you can file a provisional patent and then you have a year, I think, to sort all the little details out. So if you haven't gotten all the little details out, sorted out yet, file a provisional. There's also a utility patent. A utility patent covers the way the thing functions. So, utility patent says this is connected to this, and you move it like this, and this happens.
Yeah.
Then there's a design patent, which is the way it looks. So, design patent, how it looks, utility patent, how it works. Provisional patent, you can file for either of those, which is before you've worked out all the little details. So my second patent, we got filed, and it was thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of dollars. I probably spent like $15,000. Design patents are cheaper than utility patents because they're less
Mm.
work.
Yeah.
My utility patent's like 30 pages. My design patent's like what, 2 pages. It's just like a picture of it that's like this is the
Yeah. Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the utility patent's like, this is the thing, and this is attached to this. Or it's attached to this. You can write your own patent, but what you need to do if you're going to write your own patent is study patents. You need to know what kind of language they're using, and you need to figure out why they're using that type of language. You can absolutely do it without a lawyer, um, but you need to know that you're taking a risk because you're betting on your understanding of patent law.
That's really important because of the fact that first, if you are one of those folks that the public hears your idea before you have the patent, then you are in the hurry because you've got to beat the next inventor to get this patent done, right?
You're in a
If
rush,
you
yeah.
if you miss if you miss some of the important language around protecting the idea, then someone else can say, well, they are doing it this way, but I'm doing it that way, and I am outside of the patent and still
Yes.
have a similar idea. And that is very bad. And
Yes.
so,
Yeah.
and so that your advice and the thought about having someone who actually understands language around patents is really, really important. But to hear you say that you had to think about, well, what if I change this or what if I change that? Because that's part of it, right? Because you're literally thinking of what someone else might do. And in the case of a really, really good idea, it's what somebody else will do if they can get around your patent to do the idea.
If you have a successful product, people will try to get around your patent and it needs to be airtight. Mine is airtight because I have so many ideas and I've been working on this for so long that I've got versions in my notebook that I know nobody's thinking of, and they are covered in my patent over and
That's
over. Like,
amazing.
it's covered, it's covered. I know if this, when this. And if somebody comes up with something else, I think it would be really cool to see.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, and people are very inventive, right? And
Yeah.
you've covered all of your bases, and maybe there's something that is an enhancement or something that you haven't tackled, but that's okay. I mean, at the end, people benefit from that type of competition, right? So, so
Yep.
now you get your patent, and you're now so now you can start working on the actual product. I would imagine that when you're doing prototypes, you and your friends could sit around and maybe sew the glove, right? But what happens when you're actually thinking about manufacturing? Like, how do you decide where to go and who's going to make
Oh,
these things for you?
that took me a really long time. Especially with the FDA component of it, it took me
Hmm.
a really long time. So when I quit my job, I had a manufacturer lined up. I had samples from a manufacturer, and I liked them. And I was like, this is what we're doing. I'm gonna have this glove on market in no time. Everything takes longer than you think it's gonna take. Being an entrepreneur is a test of resilience. First and
Hmm.
foremost, it's how bad do you want it? The universe is constantly like, how bad do you want it? Like, I'm gonna keep knocking you down and you're gonna keep standing up and like going forward, or you're gonna quit. How bad do you want it? So I got my manufacturing lined up. I got samples. I got the price where I wanted it. I got the materials how I like it. And then I go to order and I'm like looking through the FDA stuff. I'm like checking all my boxes, and I didn't have the money to pay for a consultant. So it took me a long time to get through the FDA stuff. I was reading for months the Code of Federal Regulations, Title 21, Code of Federal Regulations. That's where you need to be if you're looking for medical device guidance and all of the laws and policies that you have to do. So I was reading that and I was like, check, 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 check. And then I was going to file. I had gotten the money to file, and the first year I filed, it was like 5,000 something dollars, and one of my advisors paid the fee, and she sponsored me, and
Oh,
I was
wow.
filing, and I was like da 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 da, but I need this box checked. Like my manufacturer has to be registered. They have to have this ISO like quality da da da. They need these things da 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 da. And I was like, hey, send me your things, and they're like, we don't have those things, and I'm like, no, no, stop playing. Send me those things. And they're like, we've done the research and it'll take $13,000 for us to get these things. And I was like, I can't help with that payment. So I had to change my manufacturing. And here's how you do it if you're looking for a manufacturer registered with the FDA. You first find your product code. So my product code is like braces and orthosis.
Uh-huh.
You what you do is you go into Good ID, which is the medical device database. Search up a competitor. For me, it's just people that have compression gloves. So I'm searching up my compression glove competitors and I find what code they're registered under. And then I read about that code and I'm like, yeah, we're compression wear, we're this, we're that. This is how we need to do it. And then you go into the FDA medical device establishment database, two different databases,
Mm.
medical device and medical device establishment. So then I put in that product code and I'm looking for manufacturers and sub manufacturers under that product code. And I get a list. And then I go to their websites and I see what kind of work they do. And I start calling and I start emailing. And with that method, I found two different manufacturers to make Metaflex. Um, and that's how I found my manufacturing. So go, that's how you do it. That's the secret sauce.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like and that's again a learning, right? Because
Yeah.
you really need to know who's already approved to or already holds those certifications. Start with them and see if you like one of those manufacturers before you have to go and have somebody certified, right? Because I mean, if you've got all the money in the world and you could find a manufacturer you like and get them certified. Process takes a while though, so you're not going to get them certified tomorrow,
Mm-mm.
and it's going to be expensive. Or you could dig through the databases and find the other folks. And I think, to me, I think that's one of those things that's kind of important for people who are thinking about doing things on their own, is that there's the traditional way, kind of the thing you would think about doing, but it's all these little tips or thoughts that people who have done it before that become really important, right? Because had you had someone who had done that before, they would have told you, wait a minute, go find the database and find somebody first.
Yes, exactly. So it's important to learn from, that's why I'm always reading books. I'm listening to podcasts of people who have built things. And I'm
Yeah.
like, how did they do it? And you're not going to follow exactly what they did, but there could
Hmm.
be one little step. It's like, oh, I need to do that. Oh, what a good idea.
Yeah, the tips and tricks, right?
Tips and tricks. Yeah.
So you're on the market. You've helped hundreds of people with the product. What's next for you?
More products.
More products.
So, yeah, I've got a bunch of different versions of Metaflex. We've got one coming out very soon in the next couple months. And then we've got another one coming out at the beginning of next year. And I'm so excited. And these are just little bits that we've gotten customer feedback. They want this feature or they want
Hmm.
this. And I'm like, okay, done. Da-da-da-da-da. It's so fun to like get this feedback and then invent and just make changes and give the people what they like. So
Yeah.
we've got new versions of Metaflex coming out. Very exciting stuff, and we're expanding into other countries. So we're blowing up in the U.S. We're doing really well. I think we might even be at thousands of people helped. I got to look at my numbers, but
Oh, that's
it's
amazing.
it's
That's
happening really
amazing.
fast. People are loving it. I've got reviews on Amazon that call it a miracle that say I can finally sleep at night. I've got people who wear this to sleep every single night and have for 2 years, and they call and text me and they're like, "This has changed my life." So it's making the product better, giving people little bits and features that they want. Like there's always something that someone has this preference of, and I'm testing the market. I'm seeing what other products people would like to
Hmm.
have. Um, because like I said, the future is wearable tech, wearable health tech. Just helping people live healthier with as little like having to work for it as possible. Um, and yeah, just expanding and growing the team. I've been bringing on some really incredible people. I've been a one woman show for years up until the end of last year. I brought on really my first person that I've like paid, Justin Stair, who's a hand therapist. So he's helping me with, oh, this market, these people also could use Metaflex and like making all of our claims for all of these new markets and getting us
Oh,
registered
yeah.
in other countries so we can expand. And then I made my first full-time hire, who's Megan. She's our brand manager, and she is handling like the marketing and the way Metaflex looks in the public because I need to back up and start focusing on the bigger picture. So I'm starting to bring more people onto the team so that we can function as like a
Yeah.
company,
That's
and so
amazing.
it's
Yeah.
it's really exciting. We're in this high growth stage right now.
And if people are now, man, thinking this is a great product, I love the story, Taya's awesome. I really want to understand more about Metaflex. Where do they go? How do they find out more about you?
You go to my website. You go to metaflexglove.com. That's Metaflex glove.com. Sign up for our emails. You can get a discount on gloves. And we sell them really affordably too. Like my whole thing is I want this to be accessible for everybody. So I sell a pair of gloves for $55 and I sell a single glove for $29. So I wanted to make sure that everybody, because I grew up, like we said, in rural Tennessee,
Yeah.
not great access to healthcare, and watching people that I love because of money and because of stress and because life is hard, not be able to get the care they need. So ATS is absolutely changing that, and we are very affordable. But we also put out a lot of like tips and tricks on different hand conditions and managing those. You can follow us on socials if you just want to keep up with the story and the brand and what we're doing. And it's Metaflex Glove on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. And if you want us to be on a new social channel, just message me and we can make that happen. We're also on LinkedIn. So ATS Innovations, the company name, on LinkedIn.
On LinkedIn.
And you can keep up with company updates. I'm also on LinkedIn.
I will make sure to put all of those links in the description. So people who are listening, driving, doing other things will be able to go to the description and click the ones that are most important for them.
Beautiful. Thank you.
I really can't thank you enough. This has been fantastic. I've learned a lot and I'm really, really excited for you and the product. And now my interest is piqued on what are these new things that are going to come out and all the improvements you're making. And so I'm going to keep track of what's going on and maybe we'll get to talk again as the products continue to roll out and you are big and international and I can say, wow, I talked to her when she was launching some of these things.
Absolutely. Yes. Let's pick this up later.
Sounds good. Well, try and enjoy the rest of your day. And again, thank you so much for spending the time.
Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.
If you've made it this far, then I have to thank you for your time. I hope you've learned something new and enjoyed listening to the discussion as much as I enjoyed having it. I'd love to hear from you about the show because we're working really hard to bring you great content and the feedback really helps us get better. If you like what you've heard or watched, for those of you who are streaming out on YouTube, then take a split second to give us a thumbs up or a like. It really helps other people like you find the show too. And no one likes to miss out on the good stuff. So go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't have to wonder when or if there's a new episode. And until next time, stay remarkable.